Welcome to Framework, the podcast that makes the NIST cybersecurity framework practical, engaging, and accessible. Whether you're a cybersecurity professional, business leader, or simply curious about how organizations defend against cyber threats, this series is for you. This podcast is inspired by a comprehensive guide to the NIST Cybersecurity Framework 2.0, a best-selling resource written by cybersecurity expert Dr. Jason Edwards and trusted by professionals worldwide. In each episode, we'll leverage a few insights from Jason's extensive book to dive deep into CSF 2.0, unpacking every function, category, and subcategory with real-world applications you can immediately use. If you're enjoying this episode and want to learn more, head over to cyberattacks.me to grab your copy of the book and access additional resources to enhance your cybersecurity journey. You can also visit baremetalcyber.com, where over 2 million people last year explored expert insights, articles, and practical tools across a wide range of cybersecurity topics. ID.RA-03, Recognizing Internal and External Threats. ID.RA-03 ensures that organizations identify and assess both internal and external threats that could impact cybersecurity, operational resilience, and business continuity. This subcategory belongs to the Identify function within the National Institute of Standards and Technology Cybersecurity Framework, version 2.0, emphasizing that organizations must proactively recognize and analyze threats originating from inside the enterprise, such as insider threats and misconfigurations, as well as external dangers, including cybercriminal activity, nation-state adversaries, and industry-specific attack trends. Without structured identification of both internal and external threats, organizations risk failing to detect and mitigate cyber attacks, overlooking risks posed by employees and third parties, and responding reactively rather than proactively to security incidents. By recognizing internal and external threats, organizations ensure that cybersecurity teams understand the full scope of risks facing enterprise infrastructure and can implement security measures tailored to known attack vectors and vulnerabilities. A structured approach to threat recognition enables organizations to monitor adversary behaviors, detect potential security breaches before they escalate, and align security investments with the most pressing risks. Organizations that adopt continuous security monitoring, enforce structured threat recognition processes, and integrate risk intelligence into cybersecurity governance improve their ability to prevent data breaches, detect insider threats, and strengthen enterprise-wide security resilience. Multiple stakeholders play a role in recognizing internal and external threats. Cybersecurity operations and risk management teams are responsible for analyzing internal risk factors, such as misconfigurations, unauthorized access attempts, and data exfiltration indicators. While monitoring external attack trends and threat intelligence feeds, business leadership and compliance officers ensure that threat recognition aligns with enterprise risk management strategies, regulatory requirements, and security policy enforcement. Security awareness and insider threat teams work to educate employees on internal and external threats, ensuring that workforce members can identify suspicious behaviors, phishing attempts, and social engineering tactics that could lead to security breaches. Threat recognition is implemented through structured threat assessment frameworks, automated risk detection tools, and intelligence-driven cybersecurity governance models. This includes deploying SIEM, Security Information and Event Management, solutions to track internal security events, leveraging external threat intelligence platforms to monitor global cyber threats, and integrating behavioral analytics to detect anomalous activity across enterprise systems. Organizations that fail to recognize both internal and external threats effectively risk operating with limited visibility into emerging cyber risks, failing to prevent security incidents, and struggling to mitigate insider threats and advanced persistent threats targeting enterprise infrastructure. Several key terms define internal and external threat recognition and its role in cybersecurity governance. Insider threat monitoring ensures that organizations track and mitigate risks associated with employees, contractors, and third-party vendors who may intentionally or unintentionally compromise security. Threat intelligence aggregation ensures that organizations collect, analyze, and apply external threat intelligence to enhance defenses against industry-specific attack vectors. Behavioral analytics and anomaly detection ensure that organizations use AI-driven analytics to identify unusual behaviors that may indicate malicious insider activity or compromised accounts. Supply chain risk assessment ensures that organizations monitor third-party vendors, suppliers, and service providers for security risks that could impact enterprise cybersecurity. Security Orchestration, Automation, and Response (SOAR) ensures that organizations automate threat detection and response workflows, reducing response times and improving security event management. Challenges in recognizing internal and external threats often lead to delayed detection, weak threat correlation capabilities, and failure to integrate risk intelligence into security operations. One common issue is failure to detect low and slow insider threats, where organizations focus primarily on external attacks and neglect to monitor internal risks, leading to prolonged security breaches. Another issue is lack of correlation between internal security logs and external threat intelligence, where organizations track internal security events but fail to link them to global threat trends, reducing visibility into coordinated cyberattack campaigns. Some organizations mistakenly believe that external threats pose a greater risk than internal ones, without recognizing that insider threats, including accidental data exposure and privilege misuse, account for a significant percentage of security incidents. When organizations implement structured internal and external threat recognition processes, they enhance cybersecurity situational awareness, improve real-time threat detection, and ensure that security controls are continuously updated based on emerging risks. A structured threat recognition framework ensures that cybersecurity teams detect both insider risks and external adversary tactics. Security teams implement proactive defense mechanisms, and risk management policies remain aligned with real-world cyber threats. Organizations that adopt AI-powered behavioral analytics, enforce continuous threat intelligence integration, and develop cross-functional security monitoring strategies develop a comprehensive security framework that strengthens resilience against both internal and external cybersecurity threats. Organizations that fail to recognize both internal and external threats effectively face significant cybersecurity, operational, and compliance risks. Without structured threat recognition mechanisms, businesses risk missing early indicators of cyber threats, responding too late to security incidents, and leaving insider and external risks unmitigated. A common issue is over-reliance on perimeter defenses, where organizations focus heavily on external threats, such as malware and hacking attempts, but neglect insider risks, such as privilege misuse, accidental data exposure, and employee negligence. Another major challenge is failure to integrate external threat intelligence with internal security operations, where organizations collect large volumes of external threat data but do not correlate it with internal security events, leaving gaps in threat detection and response. By implementing structured internal and external threat recognition processes, organizations ensure that cybersecurity teams detect threats in real time, assess risks based on both internal vulnerabilities and external attack trends, and develop adaptive security strategies. A well-defined threat recognition framework improves early warning capabilities, enhances the accuracy of threat detection mechanisms, and enables organizations to proactively mitigate risks before they escalate into major security incidents. Organizations that deploy continuous security monitoring solutions enforce structured insider threat detection policies and integrate external threat intelligence with real-time behavioral analytics, improve their ability to detect, prevent, and neutralize both internal and external threats efficiently. At the partial tier, organizations lack structured internal and external threat recognition processes, leading to inconsistent monitoring, weak visibility into security risks, and reliance on ad hoc security assessments. Threat detection is handled reactively, with organizations only identifying threats after an incident has occurred. A small business at this level may lack formal security monitoring capabilities and rely solely on antivirus software, leaving them blind to insider risks such as unauthorized data access by employees or external phishing campaigns targeting their network. At the risk-informed tier, organizations begin to develop structured threat recognition models, ensuring that both internal and external risks are periodically assessed. However, threat intelligence application may still be limited with inconsistent integration of internal security logs and external threat data. A mid-size retail organization at this level may monitor payment processing systems for external fraud attempts but fail to track internal employee access logs for signs of privilege abuse, increasing the risk of insider financial fraud. At the repeatable tier, organizations implement a fully structured threat recognition framework, ensuring that both internal and external threats are continuously monitored, classified based on risk severity, and shared across cybersecurity teams. Threat monitoring governance is formalized with leadership actively involved in reviewing security reports and ensuring that risk assessments incorporate both insider risks and external attack trends. A financial institution at this stage may integrate CIM systems with external cyber threat intelligence feeds, allowing automated correlation between suspicious login attempts from external attackers and abnormal internal access patterns within employee accounts. At the adaptive tier, organizations employ AI-driven threat recognition platforms, predictive risk modeling, and automated correlation between internal security events and external cyber threat intelligence to dynamically assess evolving security risks, detect advanced persistent threats in real time, and adjust security controls based on both internal behavioral analytics and global cyber attack trends. Threat recognition is fully integrated into enterprise cybersecurity governance, ensuring that risk assessments, intelligence feeds, and security event monitoring workflows remain continuously optimized. A multinational technology corporation at this level may use AI-powered behavioral analytics to track insider threats, real-time cyber attack simulations to assess external threats, and automated response mechanisms that mitigate risks based on predictive threat modeling. Recognizing internal and external threats aligns with multiple controls in the National Institute of Standards and Technology Special Publication 800-53, ensuring that organizations implement structured threat detection frameworks and dynamic cybersecurity risk mitigation models. One key control is PM-12 Insider Threat Management, which requires organizations to monitor and mitigate security risks posed by employees, contractors, and trusted third parties who may intentionally or unintentionally expose sensitive data or systems. A multinational financial services firm implementing this control may deploy user behavior analytics tools to detect anomalies in employee access patterns, helping prevent insider data theft and privilege abuse. Another key control is RA-5 Threat Modeling and Vulnerability Analysis, which mandates that organizations assess both internal vulnerabilities and external attack vectors to predict potential security threats before they materialize. A global logistics provider implementing this control may use real-time threat modeling simulations to assess how cybercriminals might exploit weaknesses in supply chain software, allowing them to proactively patch security gaps and mitigate risks. Recognizing internal and external threats also aligns with AU-12, Audit Log Monitoring and Analysis, which requires organizations to continuously monitor system logs, user activities, and network traffic to detect potential threats, whether originating from within the organization or from external adversaries. This control ensures that organizations leverage audit logs to identify insider threats, such as unauthorized data access, as well as unauthorized data access, such as brute force login attempts or suspicious network activity. A global healthcare organization implementing this control may use SIEM platforms to analyze access logs for anomalous behavior, allowing security teams to detect unauthorized attempts to access patient records and mitigate potential data breaches. These controls can be adapted based on organizational size, industry, and cybersecurity maturity. A small business may implement basic security monitoring tools, ensuring that endpoint security solutions and firewall logs are reviewed periodically to identify suspicious activity. A large enterprise may deploy AI-driven behavioral analytics, automated security event correlation platforms, and real-time cyber threat intelligence processing to ensure that both internal and external threats are continuously detected and mitigated at scale. Organizations in highly regulated industries such as finance, government contracting, and critical infrastructure may require continuous third-party audits of internal and external threat detection mechanisms, legally mandated insider threat monitoring programs, and strict compliance enforcement for threat recognition processes. Auditors assess an organization's ability to recognize internal and external threats by reviewing whether structured, documented, and continuously enforced threat detection frameworks are in place. They evaluate whether organizations implement structured security monitoring models, enforce risk-based anomaly detection policies, and integrate real-time internal security event tracking with external cyber threat intelligence feeds. If an organization fails to recognize and assess both internal and external threats effectively, auditors may issue findings highlighting gaps in security event correlation, weak insider threat monitoring capabilities, and failure to align threat detection processes with enterprise cybersecurity risk mitigation strategies. To verify compliance, auditors seek specific types of evidence. Security monitoring and incident response logs demonstrate that organizations formally define and enforce structured security event detection governance models. User behavior analytics, reports, and access control anomaly detection logs provide insights into whether organizations proactively detect, investigate, and mitigate insider risks. External threat intelligence aggregation reports and real-time cybersecurity risk correlation data show whether organizations effectively track, analyze, and act upon evolving cyber threats targeting enterprise systems. A compliance success scenario could involve a global manufacturing company that undergoes an audit and provides evidence that internal and external threat recognition processes are fully integrated into enterprise cybersecurity governance, ensuring that anomalous behaviors, adversary attack patterns, and suspicious access attempts are continuously detected, analyzed, and mitigated. Auditors confirm that threat recognition is systematically enforced, cybersecurity protections are dynamically adjusted based on security intelligence, and enterprise-wide security policies align with structured threat detection governance requirements. In contrast, an organization that fails to implement structured insider and external threat detection models, neglects continuous security monitoring, or lacks formalized security event correlation workflows, may receive audit findings for poor security awareness, weak cybersecurity threat mitigation, and failure to align threat recognition strategies with regulatory compliance mandates. Organizations face multiple barriers in ensuring that internal and external threat recognition remains continuous and effective. One major challenge is lack of real-time correlation between internal security events and external cyber threat intelligence, where organizations fail to integrate SIM logs, anomaly detection tools, and threat intelligence feeds, leading to fragmented threat analysis. Another challenge is failure to train employees on insider and external threats, where organizations do not provide adequate security awareness training, leaving workforce members unaware of emerging threats such as social engineering, credential stuffing, or privilege escalation attacks. A final challenge is over-reliance on static threat detection rules, where organizations fail to implement adaptive security monitoring solutions that adjust to evolving adversary tactics and insider risk patterns. Organizations can overcome these barriers by developing structured internal and external threat recognition frameworks, ensuring that cybersecurity protections remain continuously optimized, and integrating real-time anomaly detection into enterprise-wide cybersecurity governance strategies. And investing in automated threat detection platforms, predictive behavioral analytics, and AI-driven threat intelligence processing solutions ensures that organizations dynamically assess, monitor, and refine threat recognition strategies in real time. Standardizing security event detection methodologies across departments, subsidiaries, and third-party vendors ensures that threat monitoring policies are consistently applied, reducing exposure to cybersecurity risks, and strengthening enterprise-wide threat detection resilience. By embedding internal and external threat recognition into enterprise cybersecurity governance strategies, organizations enhance proactive threat detection, improve regulatory compliance, and ensure sustainable cybersecurity resilience across evolving cyber risk landscapes. That wraps up today's discussion on framework. Don't stop here. Head over to cyberauthor.me to explore more cybersecurity topics and discover a best-selling book covering NIST and other critical cyber frameworks. Please like, rate, and review this episode on Apple and Spotify. Until next time, remember that knowledge is power.